and welcome back to Sondering Tarot. If you're new here, hi, hello, thank you so much for joining me. This is a third quarter decks new to my collection video. So all those purchases I've made in the last 3 months or so, from July, August, and September. We're now going to cover decks. Anybody care to guess how many decks I have brought into my collection in 3 months' time? Did you guess 10? Well, guess what? You're wrong. Did you guess 20? Ah, well, you're getting close. I have a whopping 24 decks to share with you today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, we're going to start with indie decks. Now, this is a mini deck. You'll probably recognize it. This is the Tarot of Oneness by Robin Voci. And then of course I bumped that right away. This of course is exactly like the full size, except it's a miniature. I love the mini. This is one of my favorite decks. So of course when Robin said, hey, surprise, I'm going to do a mini deck. Who wants one? I could not pass this up. I decided, hey, whatever, I want it, I need it, I need more travel decks, and this is definitely one to have. So I made sure I had plenty of money in my budget for it and went all in. I probably was going to go all the way in, even if I had to rearrange some things to get this specific deck, because I was all about it. I was excited to be informed that this was going to be a mini indie deck. Also, my ancestors keep saying that this deck will go mass market at some point. So, Robin, if you're out there, if you're listening, care to weigh in on that? A lot of us are dying to know, is that in the works already? Something that's going to show up later? Anyway, I have plenty of decks to show you, so we're going to keep on moving. This next deck is the Feel Your Chakras Oracle. And I do quite enjoy the concept of this deck. I know there's different ones. A sticker one. I think there's a sweet tooth one. But to have overactive, underactive, balance, cards for every single chakra. And me, with a deck collection where I lack chakra decks, this one made sense. I backed it on Kickstarter. So to have this one finally come in, I'm excited to use it. I haven't as of yet, but I currently have a crown chakra issue, so this deck will probably be utilized for myself first before I use it elsewhere, but I do have it. Alright, I'm going to have to probably zoom back out just a tad. Alright. This is an indie Kickstarter deck. This is the Weird World Tarot. I did use this one day on my channel. Yes, it is an AI deck. I actually quite liked utilizing this for the day I used it on my channel. And after one reading with it, I've already pegged the strength of this particular deck. I won't spoil it and tell you what it is. If I add this to deck strength versus weakness poll for featured deck of the month, you'll have to vote on it if you want that answer. But for now, I will leave that waiting in the wings. Something different for a deck. And the next one I have to show you is in here. I guess the original copy of this deck, they put it in a tuck box. And then they reprinted it a second time, and they put it in these nice little nifty wooden boxes to make sure it doesn't get harmed. This is Ivy's deck. So, and if that's not a clue where we're going with this, this is the deck I purchased at FanX. They had a lot of vendor booths, selling, of course, vendor merch and the appropriate themes. Anywhere from figurines to movies to product, etc. As well as those that had book series. But there were several vendors that had tarot decks. And this one is Ivy's deck. So not only is it photography, but it's cosplay. Now, the thing that's different about this deck is that it is all the majors, all the aces, and all the court cards. And there's one extra card, I do believe, called the Punisher. No, the Prisoner. There it is. The Prisoner. That is the additional card. There is no 2 to 10 minors of any suit. So this deck functions a little bit differently. So for a deck that's more majors only, I thought this was worth getting, and it was the only thing at FanX that caught my eye. And there is actually quite a few famous cosplayers in this deck that's featured. And it ranges from, you know, anime to movies to games for what they're cosplaying. There's actually quite a lot. There's Erin again. She's also here on the Fool card. But yeah, quite nice. We'll see how that particular deck works in my collection. And I do appreciate having a box that it's in rather than a tuck box. Alright, we're going to move right along. And these are mini decks or pocket size tarot, oracle, etc. or other decks that are otherwise small in size. And the first of which is the Crow Tarot. This is the pocket edition. My ancestors told me to grab this deck, and it didn't matter if it was the pocket sized or the full size. I was told I was going to wind up with both in my collection. And after doing like 3 readings back to back with this deck, the strength was blaringly obvious. And after experiencing those first 3 readings, I understand completely why my ancestors wanted me to have this deck. I understand. It just totally vibed and clicked right into place. I get it. I so get it. I actually like it. And eventually I will probably get the, what is it, the Urban Crow Oracle that goes with this as well. And this was one of my, I think the last week or 2 of the 3rd quarter that I purchased. Here's an earlier one that I purchased for the 3rd quarter. This deck is actually called Wake Up, Kick Ass, Repeat. It is a Peter Popper Press deck, and you might recognize that name not so much as a deck printer, publisher, but believe it or not, they have a tendency to do things like notebooks, journals, planners. You walk into your local Barnes & Noble and start picking up empty journals and see who the publisher is. Chances are a lot of those are going to be Peter Popper Press. But this, of course, is a highly motivational deck. Unlike the other deck I have of theirs that's called Inner Fucking Peace. This one is only one-sided, but they do leave space to where you can actually write your own message on the other side. And it's a square deck. That really doesn't bug me whatsoever. But for something motivational, Give yourself a pep talk, a little boost. This was actually not that bad, and I think I purchased this for like $6. So kind of just an upbeat, positive moment. Alright, I gotta keep moving on. We got plenty of decks to see. And the next one you're probably going to recognize just from the backings because it goes in here. This is the Light Seers Pocket Tarot. I love my full size. So of course, when they said they were going to come out with a pocket size, of course, the moment I saw it in the store, I had to snag this one. There was no chance of me ever giving this up. Of course, I wanted this in both sizes, the full size and the pocket size, because it's easy to travel with. And I do love the fact that Hay House went ahead and spent the extra money and put it in a tin instead of a tuck box. Because, I'm sorry, I have other mini decks that are in a tuck box, and my tuck boxes are starting to get a little ragged, despite me trying to be very, very gentle on them, especially when transporting, and it still has an effect. They still wear out because they're nothing but paper boxes. Alright, and here's another one. I think I got this first part of August. This is the White Sage Tarot. So, of course, it's not the full size. It's the White Sage Tarot in a tin. But I love this deck. For something a little bit different. And this deck is so gentle and so calming. Plus, I don't mind the use of the chakras throughout the deck. That's actually kind of nice. And I've never been one to experience the full-size deck. So this is my first copy of it. I mean, I've seen the White Sage Tarot around. I've seen people use it. So I was familiar with the artwork. I was familiar with some of the chakra colors in this deck and where it was placed. But it's different when you have it in your hands and you get to experience the energy of a deck. And I love this one from the get-go. It's quite lovely. Okay, my lovelies, we're going to now jump into mass market tarot decks that I've acquired. And I've got 8 to show you. And some of you might recognize the backings. This is the Insight Editions Hocus Pocus Tarot. I wanted decks for Halloween. I wanted decks for specific seasons. I was also trying to acquire decks towards certain Sabbaths because I've been getting flagged for Sabbath energy from my ancestors, whether that's tarot or oracle. And of course, I like Hocus Pocus, so guess what? I bought it. And I know we're discussing pip decks, so excuse me for this one, but you've seen this one on my channel if you've been here for any period of time. This is Walt Disney's Villains Tarot. I actually do like some of the choices that they have on this particular deck, but at the end of 2022, I ended up getting my first pip deck and reading with it, realizing I was reading more intuitively, that I could read with a pip deck. So that left me with the question of, hey, if I buy more pip decks, can I utilize any pip deck, or is it only certain ones, or is it just, you know, a one-off thing? Well, I have the answer to that question now. If I'm drawn to the pip deck, I can read with the pip deck. If I'm not drawn to it, I fall flat on my face. So, and we're going to keep on moving on. Sorry for the rate we're doing this, but I've got 24 decks to get through. This is Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Tarot. I ended up getting this, like, I think the last a week or so of September. I purchased it, brought it home, unwrapped it, flipped through it once. I was able to, without reading it, without utilizing the deck, identify both of the strengths of this deck. Yes, it is a pip deck. And within 4 hours of me purchasing it, getting it home, and doing all that, my ancestors asked me to use this deck for a reading, which turned out just fine, believe it or not. But yeah, one of those, oh yeah, go to the store, buy this. Oh yeah, remember that thing that you just bought? Well, now you're going to use it. And that's basically what happened. And what's even worse is that shortly after I bought that deck, I got flagged to purchase another deck. So I had to go back to the store and do the same thing all over again with the Crow Tarot. I bought the Crow Tarot right after that. And that deck I also had for just a couple hours and started utilizing right after I purchased it. Okay, the backings on this one you probably recognize, and I do have the indie version. This is the Unfolding Path Tarot. And for those of you that missed my Unfolding Path Tarot mass market versus indie video, there is a misprint inside the box, which irks me. The deck is pretty much exactly the same, only you get a real guidebook this time with the mass market. The indie version, of course, will be for me and me alone, hence why you haven't seen it on my channel. But now that I have the mass market I will be utilizing on my channel, so it's basically for you guys and anyone else. It's just they wanted the indie version reserved for me and my energy alone. They didn't want it to cross over into the collective. And you might recognize the backings of this deck as well. This is Chris Ann's The Muse Tarot. And I have utilized this on my channel already. This is one of those that it's kind of a collage and somewhat bright aesthetic, which is not my aesthetic. But as much as this has landscape cards for the kings, which I thought might be confusing. I thought maybe the aesthetic being not my thing, that I might have issues with this deck. However, I have no issues with this deck, not even the landscape cards. And I think this deck is aptly named the Muse Tarot. Muse is definitely, I think, the right word for this deck. I would say that all I'm doing is collecting everything that's from Chris Ann, but I know her deck, The Curious Creatures, is one that I cannot bond to, so I will not be bringing that one into my collection. Alright, we have like 3 more decks to go. This is the Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Turian, if I remember right. This is a monochrome deck. I have yet to utilize this, although I do love the artwork. There's so much detail in these cards. And if I could draw like this, I totally would. But, since I can't, I can just admire the pretty cards. And yes, a lot of these are very pretty. And even though I purchased this a while ago, I haven't been called to use it quite yet. So I'm hoping that all of it being monochrome, that it's not going to be too much black and white to make heads or tails of anything. But I have a feeling this is a deck I'm going to end up using during the winter time, just based on the feel of the season of the deck. Which completely makes sense to me. I'm not sure if it makes sense to you, but it makes complete and utter sense to me. So we'll see how the journey with this deck goes. And a few of you might recognize this one. This is a newer deck. This is the Tarot of the Great Outdoors. And this deck is such a moment of nostalgia for me. I'm so sorry. And the name changes in the suit doesn't bother me. I love the fact that they add the name in the national park on here. But this reminds me of camping and going mushroom hunting, or, you know, horseback riding through the woods as a kid. So having this earthy, outdoorsy nostalgia with this deck is kind of nice. And we'll see as I have a journey with this deck if that's just me projecting the nostalgia or if that's actually part of the deck the more I use this. Alright, and the last mass market tarot deck we are discussing is this big honker. This is the Angel Wisdom Tarot. I have utilized this on my channel for those of you that have been with me any amount of time. And me personally, I don't really care for a lot of angel themes. It's not exactly my comfort zone. Maybe that's just me projecting issues with major religion and stereotypes. But the angel energy in this, it doesn't really bug me. And it's more angel themed than other decks that I have that have minor angel energy. And it's odd because my ancestors keep flagging me for angel stuff. And this was one of those that they asked for. And I don't mind using this deck. The only problem is that, I mean, look at this. This is oracle sized. It is huge. I mean, I love the real estate for the photo, but at the same time, I have small hands, people. Can I have this deck in, like, a regular standard tarot size, please? Please? Thank you. Okay, my lovelies. I have 8 more decks to show you, and these are all mass market oracle. And you'll probably recognize this one right away. And if I remember right, this is the first and only round deck I have in my collection. I actually love this deck. The fact that it's like 250 pieces, and it covers so much, from themes to months to anything else. And I've got an interesting story that comes with this, because the day I purchased this, I purchased it right before Barnes & Noble closed. And I was with one of my Soul Tribe members. Her and I were shopping, of course. The store closed, so we went right across the street to Home Goods. And I'd never been into a Home Goods. And one of my other Soul Tribe members said, hey, if you ever get a chance to walk into Home Goods, they have a lot of Halloween stuff. Go check it out. When I went, hey, it's right next to Barnes & Noble. They're closing. Let's go over there. So right after I purchased this deck, we went into Home Goods, and I ended up with a Witch's Brew teapot that has an infuser. So I have a teapot and the tea leaf oracle that I bought in one go. It was quite a good time laughing between me and my Soul Tribe member that was with me when I purchased both. Okay, these 3 I'm going to show you back to back because they kind of go together. You'll probably recognize them. This is the season of the Witch Beltane Oracle. Of course, I haven't utilized this. It just came into my collection this quarter. And, well, Beltane is a ways away. So, other than maybe flipping through, I haven't really done much with this deck. I'm going to wait till it's closer to Beltane to start utilizing it. It's just on my honey to-do list. And with that said, we're talking Seasons of the Witch Mabon. I have used this deck. I used it for this Mabon, which was actually kind of nice. I didn't get to utilize every single card because I had a couple themes coming up, so. But still, what came up, I was able to understand fairly well. I started really getting to know the cards that came up repeatedly without having to rely on the guidebook. And this artwork is one of those things that I kind of questioned, so I was a little leery going, oh, you want me to buy, what, the whole set? This is one of those quote-unquote Sabbath nudgings I had. And the other one I have acquired is the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. I will be starting to utilize this next week, actually. Next week after I film this, which should be prior to the time you're going to see it on my channel, because I'm going to film this like a week in advance. But yeah, I am going to start utilizing this one. And kind of, I'm going to be biased here, but between the three, this is the one that I really want to use the most. But that's just because Samhain is kind of my thing, and I'm a Scorpio, and it gets me in the mood, especially right before my birthday. So, yeah, like I said, I might be a little biased on that one. Okay, my lovelies, we're going to keep on going. We have 4 decks left to get through. And if you've been on my channel for a minute, you'll recognize this one. This is the Energy and Spirit Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. And I just knocked over some decks. Oops. This is one of those that I acquired through a Hay House deck haul. It was one of those, it came in, and the next day, before I had a chance to read the guidebook, I was told not to read the guidebook, and hey, we're going to use that for that big new moon, full moon reading, and you're not allowed to peek at the guidebook. And yes, it does have angel energy in it, and it doesn't bug me. And I really haven't read too much of the guidebook. I read this one solely on energy. I really don't rely on the guidebook, because they told me not to. But it's interesting how they are steering me towards decks that I can actually appreciate the angel energy in, and away from decks that would probably grate on my nerves. And in true Hay House deck haul fashion, I also got the Oracle of the Fairies by Karen Kay. I only have a couple tarot decks that have Fae energy incorporated, and even then it's not full on fairy energy throughout the whole deck. But I started thinking about oracles, and the fact that I didn't have any oracles with fairy energy. My ancestors pointed at this one. I have seen it used. I do actually appreciate some of the blurps at the bottom. So yeah, we acquired that one. Also another deck we acquired during a Hay House sale. This is the Sacred Forest Oracle by Denise Lynn. This is one of those that I really loved the keywords on. And it's great when you have keywords that give you a jumping off point where you can extrapolate and have a way of connecting with. Even better when your ancestor tells you to buy it because you can bond with the deck. So, yay me! And some of these I really do. I mean, Owl Spirit Wisdom. Some of these really make just full-on sense. Reflective Pool, Stillness. I think there's a Chaos card in here that is Zeus throwing lightning bolt. Yep, there we go. Things like that you see. Gotta love it. Okay, and our last deck I am showing you is a popular one that's being talked about right now. This is the Beloved Dead Oracle. So this is geared towards ancestral work. It is old vintage photographs. I understand some of what the structure is of this deck and the whole point of it. I'm just kind of on this deck, I will be honest. But I didn't purchase this for me. My ancestors kind of oohed and awed this deck. They were excited by this deck. So I purchased this deck for them. They want to have me use it for ancestral work. So we'll see what expands or what narrows into focus utilizing this deck. And I do have to start using it. I can't guarantee that this will be a deck I will use on my channel. I do have it, so I'm showing it to you now because it's entering my collection. But from this point on, you may not see this deck. Maybe I'll pull it out for a reference. Maybe I'll just use it for ancestral readings, even for the collective. Or this could be like the last time you see it, simply because it may just be for my ancestors and I, and not for ancestral work for the collective. We'll see how they dictate that. They haven't told me about it yet. However, this is the first deck that I've had enter my collection where I'm not sealing it with a crystal. My ancestors actually asked for a feather to seal the deck. Interesting, noteworthy, but there you go. Alright, my lovelies, are you exhausted as I am? That was 24 decks. Like I said, my bank account hurts. I need new bookshelves because I'm out of space. Send help, or at least send me an extra set of hands to rebuild some more bookshelves because I'm running out of space. Or, you know, somebody just rob a bank and give me a portion of the money. That way I can continue my deck buying without having to hurt my wallet quite so much. My no-buy year didn't happen. In fact, it got shot in the face and fell down and got shot in the back. So, yeah, we're not just doubling the deck collection. We're probably exceeding doubling the deck collection at this point because we still have the fourth quarter to go. And my birthday and Christmas both fall in the fourth quarter of the year. So as much as you saw 24 decks this time, we'll see how many more new decks I have in the fourth quarter, because even though we are just barely into the fourth quarter at the time I am filming this video, I have 5 new decks already for the fourth quarter up on a shelf. Like I said, send help, please. Or just, I don't know, rob a bank for me. I don't know, whatever applies. So, what do you think? Decks you love, decks you hate, decks you have, decks you want, decks you would like me to utilize more on my channel. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.